Okay, here we go, guys. Losers qualification, with obviously the loser going out, the winner taking a place in this afternoon's semi-finals and $2,000 richer. We've got a Sure Thing versus the Wiz. Adam, coming to you first. It's been an interesting tournament because I guess you lost your first match against Healy and then you sort of battled your way through.
Yeah. Lost first game against Healy. To be honest, we both played pretty well. It was a pretty close game, and went out on a shootout. First one, I think it was the first one of the tournament. But no, it was, just battled through and just have to keep going, don't you? Just keep chipping away.
And I mean, it looked like you had an absolutely epic confrontation with Baden yesterday. So a bit of emotion, bit of a fist pump as well. So I mean, do you feel like you're firing on all cylinders at the moment now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with how I played in the match. And a bit of emotion at the end, not like me, but it was a big match for me to win. So I was
And Des, coming to you, obviously our newly crowned national champion from a couple of weeks ago. Is that title that put a little bit of extra pressure on your shoulders coming here as national champ?
No, I don't feel any extra pressure coming into this. Obviously, new tournament, fresh thinking towards it. Obviously, being national champion is just an accolade that I hold at the moment. Obviously, just one match at a time. Unfortunately, got outplayed by Healy, didn't quite capitalise, but still in the tournament and looking forward to playing at him.
And anything you've sort of learnt from that loss against Healy? Anything you need to tighten up or change against Adam, do you think?
Probably just pray to the gods, ball off the break. But just you got to be clinical in this format. Usually more. And as it's shown so far, the guys that are still in, the guys that are winning the matches are just capitalising on the mistakes.
All right, well, thanks very much, guys. Best of luck, and we'll let the players lag for the break.
Okay, here we go. Adam Shaw versus Des Wilcox. So, current champion of New Zealand in the Reds and Yellows, Des Wilcox versus the man who made it all the way to the quarter-final of said tournament. But they're in against each other here in the losers qualification. The winner will be in the semi-final, the loser will be out. Nothing changes in terms of the format. Race to 3 sets, race to 3 games within each set, and if we are locked at 2 sets apiece and 2 games apiece, it will go to a Blackball shootout, which we saw 3 of those yesterday, and they were absolutely amazing to watch. They really got people to stop what they were doing and actually watch the shootout, which I think is one of the main things that the organisers were trying to do. They just create more drama, but in the best possible way. Des won the leg, he'll kick us off, and already starting to find a ball off the break, which if you heard him when he was doing his interview with Alex before the match, that's one of the things that he was really hoping for, is that he actually got the ball off the break, because he struggled against Healy in that respect. I have Baden Jackson peering over my right shoulder, wanting to crack in.
I've seen pizza, John. I've seen pizza.
So have I.
John loves eating on the mic.
I should start an ASMR channel.
A what? Is that kinky stuff, John?
Kind of, yeah.
ASMR.
Just noises, basically, that might stimulate a response.
Oh yeah. They're voices, aren't they? Not noises. They're voices.
I'm just trying to remember what the letters stand for anyway.
I hope Paul's sharing that pizza.
Anyway, Baden, you've given your time over to us today.
Got nothing else to do, John.
Wasn't playing today.
Yeah, not exactly planned, was it?
Yeah, this was Plan B. Plan A didn't quite come to fruition, pal. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. You know what? It's the way it is. And good luck to everybody left in the tournament. I've commentated on a match this morning. Early things. Healy White had a great tournament-winning performance against Des. Whether or not he can keep that going, I'd like to see. Played really well. Des has now got to pick himself up, stay focused, and get off to a good start against Adam Shaw, which is exactly what he's doing. He'll play the top yellow here in the bulk, bounce off the top rail and come down for the yellow to the centre pocket. It's a nice little... Yeah, he's played that well. Whoa. Oh, he's just... Oh, that's horrible. So we've just ironed the table, and it's now come a bit horrible, that has.
I think was Des, you were listening to him doing the interview. I don't think he's too worried about all the pressures that are now on him. He's national champion, of course, but also the fact that he's having to come back through losers after Healy White beat him. It doesn't seem to faze him too much. At least not on the outside, anyway.
Yeah, I had. Look, losing's horrible. At the end of the day, when you lose, you've got to pick yourself up. I had a little chat with him after the match, and I said, look, mate, to be fair, you didn't get a lot of chances against Healy. He was just classy. You've got to forget that performance and just concentrate on what you can do. He's won the national title, so he knows what it's like to get over the line now. The imperious line, what we all talk about, getting over it. He knows how to get over there now, and it's... this is an interesting shot here. I don't know if he can play this with Tracer's side. I think he's going for the cross double. Oh no, it was on.
Bosh!
Yeah.
Have some of that.
Yep, that
Get
was
it into you.
Yummy.
1-0 Des Wilcox, and how? Debating whether that was actually on or not, but the way he played
I think it was on. I think it was on, John. It was definitely on.
It's always difficult to tell from here, of course. The players obviously get a better view of the shot. We could only generally go on their body language, whether a shot's on or not, if it's close. You see Baden trying to get Dez's attention there, just trying to snap him out of it.
Trying to snap him into it.
Yeah,
he's a great lad. He's a great lad. Lovely guy. It's so yeah, follow that. Now, one thing I've noticed about Adam Shaw, especially when I played him yesterday, his break is massive, and this could have a big bearing on the match.
Well, we certainly did, Jody. It went in at a rate of knots, but we're not that slow. But yeah, him and Kerry Wirtz are both very small in stature, but they've both got massive breaks. They just time the pants off it.
It is. It's just the timing. Adam Shaw's break's just brilliant. It really is good. Don't
forget that we've actually got another match on at the moment. Dean Garnett and Neil Wally fighting for their tournament lives.
Yeah, that match is just entering its 7th hour. They went from a 30-second shot clock. I think they're down to about a 3-second shot clock now.
2-1, I think, now to Neil Wally in terms of games within the 5th set. 2 sets apiece, so could be going to a Blackball shootout, folks.
If Neil wins this next, I fancy technique-wise, to be honest, in that match. If it goes to a Blackball technique, I just personally think that Neil's technique will hold up better in a Blackball shootout. I might be proven wrong.
Snooker player, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the Blackball shootout does benefit. I mean, I found it myself yesterday. Probably my biggest positive at the weekend. Like the Blackball shootout, I don't know. It's just a set shot, and it's lovely. And as a snooker player, you practice a lot of shots like that. But I mean, the pressure's there, and pressure does crazy things to people. But
you nail them what?
4 out of 4.
Well, 99 times out of 100 in practice, don't you? But
no, you don't. I actually had a practice the other night for about an hour, and my percentage rate was really low, and I actually dreaded being. But I also knew that if you actually get a shootout during the tournament, that there's going to be a lot more pressure, different environment, and so you see what happens. You kind of just hoping your opponent misses, but.
Well, it's like a penalty shootout whenever England played, don't
exactly,
you?
mate.
You,
so
you generally don't have to be that great. You just have to hope England miss.
Listen. I was an Englishman yesterday in a penalty shootout. You don't exactly go into it feeling brimming with confidence, do you, John? You know what I mean? Well, thankfully there was a New Zealander, and we know how good their football is. So.
To be fair, yeah, that's probably the best retort, really. Where are you guys in the standings? Come on.
Oh, you know what? You're only as good as the people that you play against. That's just life in general, isn't it? You only need to be as good as the next guy and better than the last guy.
You feel that that's going to be really what separates these players is who can hit that gear, eh? You're talking about Des Wilcox, obviously, how well he played 2 weeks ago and how well Healy White's been playing this week, and you'd have to genuinely rank Healy as being a chance to win this.
It's little shots like that. It's little shots like that as well, John. There, like Adams cued that bit of adrenaline. That could have so easily gone wrong. He's definitely not played to come back and kiss that yellow, having come off the second cushion. If that goes behind the yellow, suddenly he's snookered. Des has got, he's in a strong position. But Adams just. See, and now he's just cued that lovely.
It's so beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just. Yeah.
So was that.
Nice confident blank.
Break and dish. Here we go. It's what you want to see too. Is it that's pool at its most basic, but at its best.
To be honest, it's
break and dish.
It's a great advertisement for pool in any country. I mean, we're a small country in stature. But on the pool scene, we're trying to compete with the best, and compete with the best, you've got to have a good standard. There's nothing worse than watching the final of a tournament and people. Well, it's not rubbish. It's never rubbish. Obviously, there's pressure involved, and those people might be new to the pressure situation. But there's nothing worse than watching a final where it's like 20 visit pool, and it's not a great advert. I certainly think, considering we've only just embraced the reds and the yellows as well over the last sort of 5 or 6 years, this is a good advert for New Zealand pool. I think about all the teams that used to enter the World Team Championships, and yeah, I would put us. We could push for a playoff place, which would be top 6. We could push for a playoff place if we're lucky.
I think what you want if you're talking about the teams event and us playing on the world stage is, yes, we are very new to it, but it's also the fact that we're so excited about it. You've got a small percentage of pool players, most of whom are here, who are so excited about it and they're willing to put everything that they have. Whoops.
That's a bad miss by Adam there. He was probably just trying to pinch a bit of angle there.
Trying to rip the pocket off, wasn't he?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves another Blackball shootout.
Oh, hello. That's what Alex was asking about.
I'm just going to leave commentary, guys, because there's...
Just a reminder too, from the right to the fifth in the middle.
There's Neil and Dean Garnett are currently...
Yeah, Des is just going to watch this Blackball shootout.
So I'm just going to leave commentary box. I want to go over and have a look.
Yeah, they can't actually get the camera in on that table, which is a wee bit unfortunate, but I can, however, commentate on what's happening from here. I just need somebody to... Oh, here we go. No, we're going to get a camera in. Paul Chivers is... Yeah, no, Paul Chivers has managed to do that for us. Here we go, we can see what's happening. Dean Garnett will have the first shot at the black. Remember that each player gets 5 goes at it. So this from the left hand side of the table as Dean sees it. He gets it. So successful with his first attempt, and here we go, Neil Wally step up to the plate. Oh, just pinches it and drops. And plays to the crowd too, love it. So this will now be shot from the right hand side. And both players successful with their first attempt at the black. Remember, if the cue ball goes in as well, it counts as an unsuccessful attempt. Dean Garnett. Oh, stays out. So Dean stays on 1 after 2 goes, and Neil now steps up to take his second shot. And yes, indeed, this time didn't need to make its mind up, straight in. So 2-1 to Neil Wally after 2 attempts each. Dean now back on the left-hand side where he was successful with his first shot. Well wide. Well wide. Yep, spread those arms, Dean. Eventually you may fly. So still on 1 after 3 goes, and Neil with his third attempt, having been successful twice. 3-1 Neil Wally. And now get to the point. So this is for his tournament life. This is all down to 1 shot. Dean must make this, otherwise he will lose and he will be knocked out. 4th attempt. Dean Garnett. Yes, straight in the middle of the pocket. Over to you, Neil Wally. If he makes this, he wins the match. 4th attempt. 1, 2, 3, 4. Neil Wally, absolute nails, did not miss a ball on the black. So he will go through to the next round. He will play Kerry Wirtz in the losers qualification. That game will be scheduled to start very soon, so we would get back to action here. Now for Des Wilcox, how do you respond after that, and where's your mind at after that? You'd have to think, well, we've had a little bit of time to do something else, maybe a touch of distraction. Back on your BS, as Buster Rhymes would say. Started exactly the right way too. He's got a nice little angle on this red for the punt. If there's any mental refocusing he needed to do, I know the game's only 2 and a bit games old, but if there's anything he needed to do, he could do it during the interval. Important that he left that red far enough away from the pocket where he can manipulate the cue ball off the rail here. Just pop out for the second red. So the red going into the middle pocket will be the one that he takes for the black. If he can get himself roughly on the same angle that he's on now, then this will naturally run down for the black, but to do that he's going to have to either put a lot of left on this, or he's going to have to punch it in with right and try to avoid that yellow. Either way he plays, he's got to stroke it with confidence. He's got to make sure he gets enough on it to at least get the cue ball away from those yellows and out of bulk. So taking his sweet time to decide on the angle that he needs to play. Well, he's gone out that way, okay. That was the little known third route. It's the third side of the triangle, if you will. Possibly having to suck it up and accept the slightly longer cut on the black. That's fine though, that's a shot that he would consider that he shouldn't have too many problems with. Of course the situation is quite pressurised, but he drops it no problem, so Des Wilcox 2-1 ahead in this first set. Lovely confident start by Des. Adam had a chance to do that himself in that frame, but he missed what looked like a relatively simple yellow and gave Des all the invitation he needed to jump in and secure the frame. At the moment I am commentating solo on this match. Baden Jackson just left to watch the Blackball shootout, and I'm now waiting for him or somebody else to return. Arena will fill up quite shortly, I'd imagine, as this tournament progresses. Have a look at this break, folks. That was a slightly softer one. He still hit them so well though. He didn't get a ball off the break, but the connection was sweet. And the way you know that is if the cue ball screws back off the apex ball straight into that top middle bolt on your screen there. You see the bolts along the top short rail there, 1, 2, 3 of them. If that hits on or near that centre bolt and comes back towards the middle of the table, that's how you know a person's struck the break beautifully. So reds are the poison of choice for Des. Neil Wally and Kerry Wirtz's match will be getting underway very shortly. So if you want to see that game, you can go on to Facebook and look up Inside New Zealand Pool Podcast. That's Alex Stones' page. He is providing a live stream of that game, so if you wish to do so, you hop over there, watch those two go at it. I think he was happy with that just staying where it did. You see him hold his hand over the table as if to say stop ball. Just angling for a bit of control in the frame here. These two yellows that are on or near bolt can be used as potential snookering balls here. That's exactly what Adams played to do. So put a bit of pressure on Des early in the frame. You see that Des laying up a ball over the pocket and very quick to notice the snooker was there and just lay one in, so very much beneficial for Adam if he can get a free shot out of this. The way that these balls are lying, you would think it only takes one shot to be able to free all those yellows up and give himself a good shot at a finish. Similarly for Des, if he can make contact with these two reds here and move them out a little bit better than they are, as he has done, then he gets a little bit more of that foot in the door for the frame. Hello Frankie Chapman, I see you've answered your daughter's call. to either get a snooker behind that yellow or at least to put the yellow in the way of the red there. You see, you may not be able to see those two reds bottom right of your screen, and he's blocked any shot at the red at being able to promote it towards them. So Des just having to play off the rail and leave the red over the pocket. So if Adam can play any sort of shot here on this yellow closest to the cue ball and leave the cue ball safe anywhere, especially if Des can't see those two reds near that pocket, then say that would be beneficial to him. Nothing really much doing with that yellow being there. The only good thing it's going to do there is just to be a potential nuisance for Des. So if he sees that as a good nuisance ball, he might just leave it there and play one of the other yellows, potentially for a safety. So one other thing it does provide is Des does pop that ball over the pocket for some reason, and he's got to avoid getting stuck behind that yellow. Adam there playing for the space, trying to leave Des as long as he can to try to talk him into playing that red over the pocket, or at least playing something that isn't an attacking shot. Force him to put a good safety in, or burn a yellow, or anything like that. Looking to settle that red in, probably more behind that first red than he did. He just over-cued it ever so slightly, and Adam's got a chance to move that yellow that's in trouble. Might have to watch the black here because he may run into it. Not 100% sure on this angle. Yeah, he ran into the black, but he's okay. If anything, he's actually come up smelling of roses there. Push the second yellow on, so yellows are all on for a finish now. It's just having to find a good route for the black being where it is. Pretty much spot on for that down the rail now. Just has to pop this off the rail and avoid getting stuck behind that red. One shot I haven't seen players actually use, which could be beneficial if they decide on it, is the cushion first shot. Sawed that in quite nicely. Natural sort of angle to bring the 8 out here if he wishes to. Nice controlled little clip on the 8. He doesn't need to move it too far. Yep, there you go. Just clip it out. Now it's on for the centre pocket. I would say this yellow top left here, if he can work back around to it, Frankie, but I don't think he's in position to do that now. He's going to have to play it now. So now it will become the yellow near the middle pocket, which is probably the hardest ball out of the three, or was the hardest ball out of the three to get onto the black from. But just the way the cue ball was lying, it wasn't really possible to get on either of these other two, so that's the way he has to go. But Adam is more than good enough to still leave himself a decent shot on that last yellow and get himself a good look at the black. The shot's so key that he doesn't overrun it. He wants to.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll take the tip. Please let Kerry Woods.
Needs to be relatively close to this black, this last yellow. He doesn't want too much angle, and he doesn't want to be too far away from it. And he especially doesn't want to be snookered on it. That was horrific. Thought maybe a little more touch required there, just for that spin to kick off the rail and open up for a straighter shot on that yellow. He has at least managed to cover the red though, so all is not lost, but certainly a great opportunity goes by. Des does have that red near the middle pocket that he can use as a ball to get a split here. Could possibly take it off this plant, or he could get a better angle on it off this first red that he plays if he plays the plant. Willing to bide his time here with the red covered. If there's an easy snooker there, then take it. He'll be aiming to play just before the middle draw closest to him here. Ideally want to pick this clean. You'll have to really hope that yellow drops, and it doesn't, so foul shot. This will go in hand. Right up behind the red, so that's a pretty awkward place to play from. Doesn't have to take it in hand though, he could play it from there and just use the free shot to bump that red off the rail. One little part of the rules, you see you can't actually do that. Rule purists would actually pull theirs up on that. Because strictly according to the rules, you're not allowed to use your cue to adjust the cue ball if you have it in bulk or in hand. But I'm pretty sure he's aware of that rule and possibly just doesn't want to pull Des up on it. Nice little stun screw shot there to get a good angle on this red. Similar sort of shot here. Maybe without the sort of punch that was required on the previous shot. As you can see, just off straight here. Just running slightly away from the black. Take the top rail. That'll do nicely. Managed to make sure that he got enough pace on that to get enough down table to not leave himself in between pockets. So Des Wilcox takes the first set. Game between Neil Wally and Kerry Wirtz has just started, so no set score, no game score as yet.
Just down by the two tables that both games are on stream.
Both games are live streamed as well, obviously this game on this stream, but Alex Stones is streaming the game between Neil and Kerry, so if you want to jump onto his Facebook page, it's Inside New Zealand Pool Podcast. You can watch that game live. Very nearly black off the break there, which would have been a re-rack, but instead it's a dry break. Apologies if you guys can hear that. That's still on as well. Oh, I was picking up.
Yeah, when these are below, they're off.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one, sorry. Oh, he tried to play a skill shot or a plant opposite ball plant to get on the set, and he's missed it, so Adam leapt up off his feet there, or off his seat should I say. The Reds are looking a hell of a lot better than they were before with that shot. Got the two in bulk that he needs to worry about, but he's naturally in position for one of these off this shot. That needed to stop. That's ended up behind the second of those two Reds, which isn't flash at all. It's got enough room to put in a snooker behind it though. Yes, he does. That's a tight snooker as well. Boy, that's a nasty snooker. It's got very little room here. If this is touch and ball, then he's going to have to... Obviously has to play away from it anyway, but he might have to play off the jaws here. Try to run down the rail. Does he hit one? Yes, he does. That wasn't the one he was aiming for, but any yellow was a goal. Well played, Des Wilcox. Gets out of the snooker. Play this cut more for control than the pot, I would imagine. If this sits right over the bin, he'll be a happy camper. No. He did get great position on both Reds and bulk, but he won't be happy at the fact that he hasn't taken the pocket. I'll say that would have been the first must on that shot, is that he gets that right over the hole, because Des has got two yellows in particular that would like a piece of that. Now Des will look to play for control on this shot to take that pocket where the 8 is, which to a certain extent he has done. Left the black well and truly safe there. Is this all royalty-free music?
Yeah.
Thought so. If you guys can hear any music in the background, by the way, it's all royalty-free, so no issues with copyright and what have you.
We got cut off on Friday at what do you call it? The National.
This might be on, you know. Possibly for a cannon off the yellow here, that's just below the black. Or, probably even better, take the pocket and now you're in control of the frame. Des could potentially just flick the side of the yellow here and leave Adam only that red that he's just put over the pocket. But instead he's looking for a wee bit of control himself, so willing to play the long frame here. Try to get a little bit of control back, or at least change Adam's mode of thinking. That's okay. It's perhaps not in the position he would have liked it to be in, but it is at the right end of the table for Adam. Say about grouping balls, you want to put them nice and close to each other, or at least down the right area of the table, so that you do have easier balls to work off, or you give yourself a chance at more shots. I imagine this would go over the pocket. Yep. No point trying to pot that. There's no finish there. Just tighten the noose just a little bit here on Des. Could be a potential skill shot on here though. Oh, he didn't make the yellow. You can see him trying it. He's got a free shot, so he can release that black from its yellow prison here. I'd say that would be more of a priority than the red being over the pocket. Use the free shot to move the black. If he can somehow move that red or pot the red or move that yellow next to it on the same shot, that would be fantastic. He does have a bit of freedom on this, but instead just opting to keep it simple. It's easy to get carried away with a free shot if you've got a number of things that you need tidying up. Sometimes what happens is that people they try to do too much with it. They know that they can use it to open balls up, they know that they can improve the frame situation with it, but they get greedy, so I'm thinking with his head and not his heart there. That's way too straight though. That is a hell of a lot straighter than he would have liked it. The red looks to be on next to the yellow, but only if you're all the way down the other end of the table. Don't score a try from your own 5 metre line. Somewhere in the D or right next to the bulk line would have been perfect for this, but having to use whatever little angle he's got here. And perhaps, not surprisingly, he opts for the safety. There is a plant here for Des. He could, on the right hand side of your screen, could plant the two yellows into each other. But there's also the half pocket that Adams left him, so take one of these two and then play the other one down the rail and try to take that pocket where the black is. Hoofs the red out, and might have been in thought of seeing if he could perhaps luck that other red in. Got a potential double on this yellow left hand side of his screen if he wants to use another ball to cover this black. He's also got the simpler ball down the rail for the same purpose. Love the way he played that. He played that with a bit of bottom right to just have the cue ball come out to the left hand side of the table. I wonder if he'd be thinking of a skill shot here. I think again it's a big risk. Really needs to bite into this to get it to really hook around into the red. Oh, cue ball. He was playing for a snooker, and it would have been pretty much on too had that cue ball not fallen. Some would say overly ambitious. I say good on him for playing it. You never really know what's going to happen until you actually play the shot, and he had a concrete idea of what he wanted to do and just didn't quite execute. Might look to fine thin off this red here on the rail. Bring that out and play the plant. the red out. Hasn't really left himself on too much, but I don't think this is actually on from here, so I might have to just come off the rail here and try to leave Des kind of stuck in behind it if he can, or at least with the ball still over the pocket. And he had a go at it, but he tried to cheat the pocket, and that was always going to be very difficult. Just didn't really have the angle for the shot. He needed to be more towards the top rail, I reckon. Does have a half a pocket that he can aim in here if he wishes to take that route, but instead he in place for the snooker. But I reckon Adam might be able to see this red on the right. I don't think he's got in far enough. I'd venture to say you can see this. Could indeed, and he gets a reasonable contact on the yellow. He hasn't quite left himself as on that red as he would have liked. Could try to cut it down the rail with plenty of left. He's got to believe that it's going to be snooker city if he doesn't pot this, though. Might try to double this to go in front of the black here. He tried to cut it in, but he hasn't managed to get it, so Des no doubt will be looking for a snooker here. Preferably a long, big long one. Catch a piece of this, go down table. Here we go. Bang on. This middle pocket's right in the road too. Goes for the one cushion escape. And he's got that middle pocket on the right hand side of the table square in his way. He's also got the 2 or 3 cushion escape here. Bulk rail, right rail, just as he's queuing. And then possibly into the top rail and then to hit the red. Alternatively, he could try 1 rail or even 2 with plenty of right hand side and come up in behind the red that way. Nope. Just didn't get the side on it that he needed. He's trying to clamp down with side on it. It makes the shot a lot harder to control, because when you do punch down on it like that, the white ball wants to curve towards the same side that you've hit it on. So a big part of that shot was to control that banana before it hits the rail and then kicks off with the side again. Adam obviously fearful of that middle pocket. And Des using the free shot to clear the pocket there, and cleared it with some aplomb too. That yellow's gone ugly near the black though. But there is plenty of room to work for it, either in that corner pocket, same side of the table, or even into the middle perhaps. And so he'll take this cut on in the middle here. Yellow right in the middle of the table, and naturally let the white ball come back towards these 2 yellows left of your screen. Instead looking to flick off for a snooker, and Again, it's good composure. Itching to finish after a free shot like that, especially if you achieve objective number 1, but always got to know that you've got that snooker up your sleeve when the other player's on the black. Oh, hit the rail too early. Might have caught a tiny piece of that jaw on the way through. When you do that, the ball rebounds at a sharper angle or more towards the middle of the table. I think he was trying to cut that black one off the rail and hit the rail in the wrong place. Free shot again here for Des. Wonder how much he'll want to move the black or the yellow. So he's moved the black. Sitting on the top rail, but that shouldn't be an issue. He's got 4 yellows down the same end, so he's got choices to get onto the black from there. This time he is willing to twist. I venture to say it's the red bottom, the yellow bottom left that he'll take for the black here. It just looks like the most natural ball. This one into the middle isn't quite straight. Can cheat the angle slightly here. Deciding on the same route. Could have taken that yellow I was talking about first, and then the one that he ended up playing second, but instead stuck to it. Lovely little bit of left-hand side off the rail there, just to get the cue ball more towards this top rail, makes this shot easier. Down she goes, so just like shelling peas that. Des Wilcox 1-0 ahead in the second set. You see Des's wife Chrissy there, just very bottom of your screen, just sitting next to Baden Jackson. You know it's Baden because you can see his bald head from anywhere. You ask him though, he won't say he's got a bald head, he'll say it's a virility panel. So Des with a 1-0 advantage in this set. He must have said all the right things to the pole gods, because he's definitely doing much better in terms of balls off the break. Successful break again. Going to take the plant on to establish reds, so yellow into the red establishes reds if the red pots. The only thing can do that, of course, if it's an open table. It's one of the other reasons why I love these rules, in fact, is that freedom that you've got when the table is open. You can play one colour onto the other one and establish the colour that you pot, whereas other rule sets you can't do that. You have to stick to playing the one set. Want to leave himself A little angle on the spread down the rail here. Just enough to pop out and go between the yellows. That should be okay. Needs to watch that he doesn't hit the first yellow of the two. That's perfect. That's a lovely shot, and some of those in attendance liked it as well. I hear the smattering of applause. Just off the rail to come out nicely for the black. So this to get on the hill within this set. Already holds a 1-set-0 advantage. This black, if he's got enough on it, which he has, means that he only needs one more for a 2-set-0 advantage. No, you don't have to call any shots in this game, Mr. Southwest. In fact, you never ever need to nominate in Blackball. The only thing you ever have to say as a nomination or anything similar is for a total snooker. Other than that, no nomination required. Which is another thing I really love about these rules, and sort of listing off why I love the rule so much, and one other reason I do is you don't have to nominate, so it takes that out of... takes all the guesswork out. Boy, you get a different look from there at the balls flying around the table off the break. But nothing off the break though, so as well as he hits them, he's not always guaranteed a ball off the break, and that's a fantastic setup. A little bit scared to touch any of the equipment. Pulls away at the moment, that's why we can see the wide view camera. So I'm just going to stick with this at the moment because I genuinely don't want to mess with anything. So Des is on the reds, sorry, on the yellows. Who's playing here? That would be Des Wilcox versus Adam Shaw. How do you flip cameras? Okay, there you go. So there's your question answered. There is your score as it sits. Dev. This, of course, the Blackball rule set, and scoring's a bit different here. Dev, you're having to win 3 sets rather than a determined number of frames. So each set is a race to 3 frames, and then it's a race to 3 sets. So you could, in theory, win more games, as they're called, than your opponent, but still lose the match. Can't quite make the long pot there, and if he had done so, he had the red on the left-hand side of your screen there. He would have been able to just take that into the middle, and then he'd be away. Did right, Frankie. Currently first set in that match, and Kerry has a 2-game-to-1 lead over Neil. That's an excellent starter from Des, so Look out, if he can get this next yellow into the middle, then the rest of them should very well open up for themselves here. I think this yellow in the middle of the table does pass the red bottom right. He's obviously got this yellow near the middle though, that will be first order of business, is to clear that. Overcut it. Wasn't an easy shot for position. He could quite have easily ended up in the middle of the table there, or the middle longitudinal line of the table between the two centre bolts on the two short rails. Good angle here for the red to go into that bolt pocket, and then he's got the red that's in bolt that he can play, and then come out naturally for the red into the middle pocket, and then it gets stuck into the reds at the other end of the table. Little trace of left hand side to give himself a better angle at that. Otherwise he would have had quite a thin cut on that and he wouldn't have been able to hold so much. Pretty much straight, but that's okay. He can screw straight back here and be on the red on the left hand side of the table, or use the tiny angle that he does have to get on either of those two other reds. So the one beneath the black spot's next. Because he's quite close to it though, he have to put a bit more work on this to get it out. Got a good couple of bumps there for that to not stick on a ball or go behind one. That does giddy on up, so pretty much perfect on this, nice and straight. Only has to drop it in. And same thing on the black, so again the route's taken to get to this quite superb. Knew exactly what he wanted to do and how to play it. And the black was nice and easy at the end of it, so 2-1 now in games in this set. And Adam gets on himself onto the board. Did a really good job at there of making Des pay for that mistake in the middle pocket. Des trying for a positional shot off a cut and missing the cut. Adam showing some of his class and being able to finish. That goes dry from Des, so all of his wishes coming true at once here for Adam. Got an embarrassment of choices here. It just depends on which yellows are on as to whether he chooses yellows or reds, because the yellows to me look like the better set. Tops through, so he's got the angle for the plant here. Ideally want to leave this first yellow that he's playing over the bag so he could use it for his next shot. And that was the other way he could have played it, and that was the riskier way to play it, and won't be happy that he's left it there. hit it ever so slightly too hard. He wanted that in bulk so that he had a shot in bulk. Because you see he's got that other yellow that's just outside of bulk that needs a ball to help to get on with. That would have been that yellow that he used for the plant, but he's overhit it, so it may not be on now. Yellow looks to pass the red into the middle pocket though. Nice and straight on this yellow here into the top left pocket, so if he liked the idea he could have taken it there. He's straight on this one. Not so sure he wanted to be straight on this, but if he can find an angle he'll use it. Oh, he was just a wee bit unlucky there. If anything, he hit that too well. He looking to play into that sort of space, but he got too much of a hit on the red, and this angle not conducive to a pot. Just look to tuck him in behind the red. Diz will be looking to see if this is a touching ball. It's probably better if it's not, to be fair, because he can just sort of rub off the side of it and hide the cue ball behind it for a snooker. Also, if it's not touching, then that red to the middle pocket right of his screen will go, so depending on what sort of shot he's got here, he may still have some options for a potential finish here. Whether he goes the safe route or whether he tries to attack this. And that was the other idea, was to try and play safe down that end and get a snooker or leave him long, and certainly left him long, but I think he was disappointed that he left Adam pretty much smack on this yellow. Still have to be a good shot though. Die a long distance with the red being there. Yeah, the red got in the way. The red was always going to feature into the thinking there, because if it wasn't in the way, it at least was a distraction. It's quite a clever shot that. He's looks to have left Adam only on that yellow that's blocking the red, so Adam will have to move that. And that could very well leave all the reds on and a chance for Des. I think what he'll want here is to try to leave the red stuck, the yellow stuck on the other red. There you go, he's hit it about as fine as he could, and if anything he's hit that too fine, because as you can see on the side view that red still passes, so perhaps a touch unlucky there because he hit the shot so well. If anything he hit it too well, and now this is a chance for Des. He hasn't gotten on that red just yet, but he's got several others that he can play. Right hand pocket first. Well, that was the idea anyway. Just wonder if Adam's going to even attempt this cut. Looking at a potential plant here. He's just trying to ugly up those two reds. Once that over the hole, the cue ball just about dropped. I tell you what, that's a pretty damn good shot. The red closest to the bolt cushion might still drop in behind it though. But for the moment, he's actually put a big cat amongst the pigeons. So I'd look to cut this one in and then run around the black and be down table. Nice controlled manner there, just to sit there for that ball on the right hand side of the table and just play a little stun type shot, and he'll be on that red behind the yellow, but he left the yellow hanging, the red hanging. All he had to do was drop that in, and with one more good shot he was home free. The yellow doesn't go past that red over the pocket, so you'll have to find another way to get on it. There is a double on here though, you can see it quite clearly on your side view. Top right of the screen here. Whether we play it for the weight or whether we play it to make sure it goes. It does have a slight angle that he can work with here. I reckon he thinks he might be able to squeeze it in past the red, you know. Oh, skill shot! Take a third guess. Oh, fantastic ending. I didn't even look at that, I didn't even think it was on. That's a terrific finish. So 2 frames, 2 games apiece. 1 set to 0, Des Wilcox. But that was a warning shot in the literal and figurative sense. First time we've actually seen a proper skill shot like that in this tournament on stream. We've seen a number of deflections. You pot your own ball and then deflect off to pot the opponent's ball, but we haven't seen what I would call a bonanza skill shot, which is when you directly follow your ball in after theirs. So what a time to play it and what a time to pot it. So both players taking the opportunity for a refresher. And Kerry Wirtz and Neil Wally locked up at 2 games apiece over on the other stream, still in the first set. So Des Wilcox comes to the table first. This game's starting to pick up with a bit of life now. Des was threatening to run away with that set as well and establish a quick 2-0 lead, but Adam's done a fantastic job of, first of all, just hanging in there, and secondly, being able to take the opportunities as they come. Des making 2 little mistakes, one in each of those 2 frames, and Adam good enough to finish it, and then with a bit of skill, no pun intended, in that last frame to pinch it. So Adam will break in this deciding game in the second set. Everybody returns to their positions. Des Wilcox to his chair, Chrissy Wilcox to hers. Only person we're missing now is Adam Shaw's wife, Catherine. I wonder if she might be watching this online. I hope that she is, and I hope she's enjoying it. 1-0 in 2 games each. So that score you see on the screen is incorrect. Just correcting it now, there you go. That's... he's gone and off the break. That will have elicited a groan from Catherine's living room if she's watching. Just wondering what he's trying to do here, Des. The Reds definitely look like the set to play. He could be just making the second red more on for himself. Playing to pot it, or... Even there, I think what he was trying to do was he was trying to take that pocket via the yellow so that he had an extra bit of safety because of how open this frame is. So the Reds are in play. With how open these Reds is, you wouldn't imagine you'd need to put another ball safe or play any shot like that, but when you've got a free shot, you need to use it, and I still think Des did use that very, very well, so he's made that finish easier for himself, and solidified Reds as the set to go for, and then now he's given himself a better route to the black from here as well. Subtle little spin out there. May just drop this in pocket weight and play the red top right of your screen, or to the top right of your screen. Could also play that same red into the bottom left corner pocket now, and sort of centre himself up better for the red into the middle pocket. You want this to come back just a little bit. Just a little bit, just so that he's nice and straight on the red to the right of the black. Nice straight angles are the order of the day here. Up until you get on the black, in which case having to negotiate those 2 yellows next to it. Make sure that he takes the rail so that he doesn't get involved with the yellow. Wants to leave himself above this last red now. Whether that's above or enough or not, I don't know. If he's straighter on this than he would like, he can still run through. Run through with a bit of top right and then have the black in that pocket there. Had to give it some to get it there, but he has gotten that position that he would like. He is on the rail though. This will require a good strike. This is for the second set. Leans it in, so Desi Wilcox sees off the threat in that set. Adam Shaw was definitely pushing him hard for that, but Des gets it, and he is on the hill in terms of sets here. Just kneecap him, Blake. Some of the Rogue Tournament games starting to come in now into this room. The Rogue Tournament, just reminding you, being played at the same time as this one. Most of it's being played in the other room here at the Kashmir Club where the pool tables usually are. Our only hope is that the players in the Rogue Tournament do respect the players in the room. If that happens, then everybody can coexist. Looks like yellow's for your life here, and Des quickly cottoning on to that. Oh, that made a lovely sound as it flew into the pocket. It's one of the most satisfying sounds in pool, that. You know you've absolutely fatted one when it makes that sound going into the pocket. He's not having to queue over this red so much as he is having to sort of watch the line of the cue ball here. Doesn't want to going back too close to that red. Just there is fine. Natural line of this cue ball might be running into the red just outside of bulk, so that's why he put that stun on it, but he's chewed off too much. If anything, he just let his cueing arm go too much, and the stroke was a bit loose. I often find that's the hardest shots to play in these games, are the subtle ones, when you just have to make sure that you deviate off the angle enough to make another ball on, but you still have to give it some to get it there. And finding the happy medium can be the hardest part. That's a very good starter from Adam. He's left himself still on one of those balls other than the one bottom left. The one bottom left would be quite good for the black. This one might just about double. And yes, it does. Woo, the cue ball. Should be an easy snooker from there. Not what he would have been playing for at the start of that, but that's okay. More than likely will give himself another shot at the very least, so it's reverting to type there with this rule set. Ooh, that was not a million miles away. I think Adam would have had his heart in his mouth for a moment there. But instead the heart returns to its normal place. His breathing pattern can resume. This is a bit awkward because he's going to have to watch those 2 yellows, and in fact he's going to play it left-handed. Good shot, Ronnie. Would have been an awkward shot to play with a jigger too, with those 2 yellows being there. I see some players, instead of leaning over balls like that, even if they can reach the cue ball, will opt to use the rest, just for the stability. Either red there would have been fine, but the one down the rail is the harder ball of the 2, so that's why he's prioritised it. Just needs to spin out subtly. He does. Natural looking screw back here for the black. And perfect. Now just one more good stroke. And he gets on the board first in the 3rd set, so Des Wilcox holds a 2-0 set advantage, but Adam gets out of the blocks first in this one. Just a quick score update as well. I'll just wait for this break to go off first. Great connection, gets the ball off at this time. So, just your score update as promised. Neil Wally 1-0 up over Kerry Wirtz, still first game in the 2nd set. Whilst Des has had the better of this match, let's make no bones about it. Adam is a threat anywhere and at any time. That's exactly where he didn't want to be. If you could have picked the places on the table you didn't want to end up, that would have been number 1. Is he looking for a double into a plant here? I don't know about that, Adam. I'd look more for a safety shot if I were him. I'd look to try to leave the cue ball somewhere in between those 2 bolts on the top rail. The bolt on the left and the middle bolt. Ideally on the rail would be best. So it gets the yellow out though, so this in its own way will put a bit of pressure on Des. Des is good enough to finish this, so he's taking his life into his own hands here as Adam, but he's trying to use any nervous energy that Des has being close to winning. Sometimes it just makes you feel you just get a little bit more nervous because you can sense the finish line approaching. And Des does have a history of sometimes getting nervous towards the pressure end of games. Even though he has missed that pot, then none of those yellows are actually on anywhere by the look of it. Unless he's willing to fine cut the second one in that line there. But there's also a plant on between the two bottom ones. Just looking at the people in the room, you've also got Steph Crowell, who's Neil Wally's partner, watching Neil and Kerry's game, and then you've got Kerry's partner as well, Celia Basson. Oh, what a shot! Both yellows and the split. 1, 2 and 3. If you ever wanted to dial Superman, there's his number. Looks to be just off angle here, which he'll be happy with. Need to be careful of this red though, the red just in the middle of the table to the left. Yeah, great cue ball. It was so paramount that he didn't hit that red. Gets just so he can get past the straight line of that yellow. Perfect for the black here. Might need to use the rest though. This is quite an awkward shot to cue. Has to watch his bridge, has to watch his belt. Should be okay though. Yes he is, so Adam Shaw 2-0 ahead of Des Wilcox in the third set. And that was all made due to that terrific plant. Didn't just settle for making the plant, but also making sure that he removed the black, because the black wasn't on where it was. Really did go out and get that one, did Adam, and if there's any time to, it's right now. So Des here to break the third frame in this set. Doesn't look like there's anything there. Now that's gone dry. Yellow's just, for me, are the better set. It's got a couple of yellows that are on here. One close to centre of the table, and then you've got the one near the right middle pocket. There's also a couple of reds he could take as well. One down the left rail, and he's also got the red just outside of bulk. Often with these it just comes down to personal preference. Yellows definitely look better though, for me at least, and just as important to pot the ball is to get a good shot on the next one, which Adam has done. Look to put this in the corner top of your screen. Well, dear, that was the idea anyway. Gee, that's a bad miss. It's a very inopportune time to miss one as well. You're absolutely rolling in this set, and that finish was beckoning too. You could see all the balls were very much on. Oh, that hasn't made a rail. It hasn't made a rail, so it's a foul shot. So Adam will get ball in hand here if he wants it. Which I would suspect where it is, he'd rather have it in bulk. Just needs to figure out which ball he wants to play now. Take it in bulk. And then how do you want it? Is he going to play the punt from here though? Okay. Decided he didn't need to take it in bulk. He still had a plant on. See how that pans out in the wash. He's prioritised making that yellow more accessible for himself, so might be able to use that in this next shot here. Play a plant and then maybe get amongst those two other yellows on the left hand side of the table. Also on by itself, he doesn't need to take a plant. This is more than a little bit awkward if he's still looking at that same shot to go left hand side of the table, the ball on the bulk line. Don't think he can really generate enough power from there though with his cue to kick out like he would need to. So instead he's going to try to sneak this past the red. Can the... Yeah, managed to get Sunrise past the Rooster. Not very often it happens, but on that case it's good enough to just winkle it past. Looks like he's loading this up with left. Just to get on that yellow to the middle. And get his two tougher balls out now and then look to be nice and central to the last yellow into the same pocket as this one. And off the jaw. Now the angle here could go off the top rail. He also could spin out off the side rail. Either way, he wants to be relatively straight on this. That'll do just nicely. And Kubel will come back with a draw to be nicely in line for the black if he cues it right. Which he does. Spots the cue ball nicely there. This for the set. Oh, he rose up off it. Dear oh dear. Adam Shaw, how have you managed that? Threatens to unravel all the brilliant work he's done in this set. And 2-0 down, and Des Wilcox in the ascendancy and playing really well, but Adam Shaw finding a groove of his own. Are we going to see that end though? This will be a definite hurty if Des can come back and win this frame. Manages to make that one fit. Could take the one into the middle pocket here. This will float across nicely for the one that's in bulk. Doesn't want to be too straight on that. I'll venture to say he is a bit straight on this. Still imagine Des would back himself here. I think that red appears to be just off the rail, so yeah, that's about the line there. Oh, look at this Q power. He's managed to get on that bottom red of the two, which is arguably an even better ball to be on for. I was about to say he was a bit quick on that, but he knew what he was doing and he struck it beautifully. Oh, great strike again. Jesus, this will be a hammer blow if this drops. Oh, he does too. Well done, Des Wilcox. Keeps this set competitive. He's 2 games to 1 down, but remember, all importantly, he is 2 sets to 0 up. Neil Wally and Kerry Wirtz. Neil is 1 set to 0 ahead and 1 game apiece. Only other match going at the moment. So Adam to break, looking to erase that last frame out of his head. He got a lot of ball movement, but nothing down, so it's a lovely looking table for yellows this. You've got to be going yellows, surely. Only potential problem yellow I can see is the one near the bulk line. Fits the first one in. He's got a bit of a license here to... He pots that yellow bottom right of his screen. Gives himself multiple opportunities to get on that other yellow that's just beneath the black spot. So he's not on it now, but you can see he's still got 2 more down there, so he can play the plant if he wants to, or he can spin out off the one closer to the pocket. Oh, that was a bit loose actually. If you're still on one, he's okay, but if not, this is going to be quite a fine cut. Ends up being no problem, and that's quite a fortuitous kiss as well. We'll take this one into the middle, allow him to just screw the cue ball slightly into that second yellow and push it on somewhere. Oh, he missed it though. He's just trying to get a tiny flick on it to make it on somewhere. Looks like it doubles though. He's going to have to follow the cue ball down or up tables, so we have to be careful that he doesn't hit the cue ball on the way through. No, he's played that beautifully. Ever so slightly out of position still, but this does go into the top right pocket, so got to focus on the pot. The pot's still there, and also got to watch the cue ball that it doesn't get trapped in behind that red to the right of the yellow. Oh, look at this, if it drops. Oh, somebody stamped the ground. staring at it like it's murdered his family. How did that not fall? Figurative millimetre, literal millimetre away. Not surprisingly, he goes for the snooker. He was telling Des beforehand that the ball isn't touching the rail. Chance at a swerve shot perhaps, although it's incredibly difficult to do that over that sort of distance. Yeah, no, that was a really hard shot. He's got a free shot here too, so take the yellow as his free shot, get rid of that so that Des is only on the black. Played a good shot there. He promoted the yellow, the red as well. Sorry, I'm getting my colours mixed up again. It's certainly something I don't want to do if I'm in a crip or a blood neighbourhood. Much less on a pool table. Nice and in amongst it here. He's well and truly on the dance floor here. Ooh, didn't quite get around that red as he would have liked, but he's okay. He's not quite pasted to it, so this one in the middle will drop. Got an angle that he can use to work for either red here. Can almost use this as a free shot to get onto that red near the right rail. So he knows that if he doesn't get on it, he's got the other one to the bottom left. But he's nicely onto that red now, into the middle pocket. Ooh, just off the jaw, but it counts. Needs the second rail. Left it on or near the rail. Increases the degree of difficulty somewhat. Yes, well played. But he still strokes them well enough to get the frame. The set is his and he remains alive. So 2-1 Des Wilcox. Still 1-0. Neil Wally leads Kerry Wirtz in one game each. Time. I think referee Daniel Cole's just coming across to just confirm that the 30-second shot clock is now in force. So we have reached the 90-minute mark within this match. Both players will have been made aware of this fact. Woohoo! Thrill Seeker with the cue ball. Ball off the break too. Nice little deft touch there, Dan. Something that he would have had to practice, no doubt, heading into this tournament, is finger dexterity when moving balls. Did a good job of keeping that cue ball away from that pocket. Quite easy to leave it right in there and make this shot difficult. Oh, nicely dropped. The yellow that's just to the left of this yellow he's looking at now is the yellow directly beneath the black spot. The yellow to that yellow's left will pass into the middle, but also by the look of it, it goes now. And he still remains nicely on one of them. Comes a wee bit tougher now though, because now you're really starting to get into those reds. You're looking to avoid hitting them as much as possible here. You don't want to step on the landmines, so to speak. Yellow next to the red on the left hand side of the table will go, but position has to be pretty much spot on for that. This is a pretty good angle right here. He just drops us in pocket weight. He should be pretty much dead on that last yellow. Yep. I want to get Daniel to come over and have a look at this. And you see how he's standing, just in a position where he can better see the contact that the cue ball makes with the first ball. I think he would have asked for an extension fairly early on in this. Definitely looked like a fair shot. And
Yeah, the count of the red screen, I tried to just refresh.
Yeah, so basically all I did was just like, this is my case's account, and I just basically finished the match on the right there and then just restarted.
Nice. Beautiful touch again, Adam Shaw. You just sense he's slowly starting to work through the gears here. 1-0 ahead in the fourth set.
The beauty of the format.
Yes.
I'll take all the credit for that.
Oh, look at REN.
Would you rather be locked in? Because we can bring that back over after the...
It's it stops the sound travelling, doesn't it? Really, a little bit.
Yep, we can do that.
Yeah, just bring it back over.
Yep.
It just gives that little bit.
Yeah, just speaking very briefly to Simon about the format. He's a massive fan of the format for this very reason. Look at all of the different troughs and peaks that you go through during a match, and even being behind in sets, you never really feel like you're out of it. Adam continuing to pot the balls that he absolutely needs to. Did a good job of picking the pieces up after he should have won that second set to love. Sorry, win the third set to love. Missed a relatively easy black and let Des back in. But then he managed to close it off again pretty quickly. Started in the best possible way in this set as well. And clips the yellow away, perhaps a little bit too hard. Still got one that he can play though, which is the one in the middle of the table. And Jay Scott saying go the Norths. And Adam Shaw from Canterbury and Des Wilcox from Taranaki. So you've got a South Islander playing a North Islander in this match. So I've just got my sound blocker back. That board that had been removed earlier can now go back, so I don't have to worry as much about disrupting the players with my voice. Still have to be a little bit careful though, because some players have sensitive hearing. Looking to take this yellow into the middle pocket first. He wants to get that out of the way so he can concentrate on the two at the same end of the table as the black. And it's the one on the top rail that he really wants to be on, and ideally he wanted a little bit more angle on that. He can make it himself, just like that, and spits himself out nicely for his very last yellow. He gets a good clip on the black there, and that's a better shot than he would have had. It's still not an easy shot though. I've got to watch the cue ball on this shot quite intently. Oh, just rolled it in. He must have thought for a horrible moment that was going to sit over the hole, but just had enough weak bits to drop. So Adam Shaw 2-0 ahead of Des Wilcox. Des, a reminder, holds a 2-1 lead over Adam, but definitely the possession arrow, if we can call it, is with Adam Shaw. He's got the momentum at the moment. Such is the value of this set format. Just growing in strength during this game. 2 sets to 0 behind at one point, and you sense that Des was going to run away with it at that point. Des was queuing really beautifully and making the critical pots, making the critical shots, and Adam found a way to get back into the match though. He's a real fighter. And that messenger yellow does go, so straight back onto it. Gets this game, he manages to get the set, and then it'll be 2 sets each, and then it really is on for everyone. At what price then would you put on a Blackball shootout? You know, with both of these guys, it'll be an incredibly close run thing. Yellow's quickly in play. I think he'll look to keep it simple here. I don't think he'll be looking to take the yellow beneath the black spot. I'll be more looking for the one in the middle left of your screen there. Oh, great position. He's ended up with a good angle on both of these yellows here. He's got the one that's just left of the black spot and the one that he's looking at now. Either of those he could use to get onto that, to get on the yellow on the other side of the table. So go from right here and pass over back to the left. Even better there, he's actually managed to get on to the one beneath the black spot first, so that ball would have been incredibly difficult to play, to pot that and then to get on the yellow just next to the right middle pocket. So slightly riskier shot this. definitely the reward is there if he can make it and then top this one through for the last yellow. It is a slightly tougher route, but definitely if he makes this pot, which he has done, and he has done quite well, giving himself a shot at this. He just needs to watch where the cue ball goes with the reds. This is the reds, needs to stop, perfect. Stick that on a postcard and send me to set 5. Adam Shaw's squared us all up. Let's go.
There'll probably be a break after this as well, because until they sort this, until their match finishes, they can't take the shot.
Good. Get something to eat. I love you too, Joseph, you sexy beast. Fellow Cobra. What time is the final? At the moment it's scheduled for 8 o'clock. So if you want to get your sexy self in here to watch that, then that would be very much appreciated.
Many people here as we can, really, build the atmosphere.
Just want to build an atmosphere, really. There's still a good number of people here at roughly 10 o'clock to watch the last matches last night, so it'd be fantastic if we got pretty full room in for the final. Alternatively, watch it on the stream if you can't get here. The semi-final and the final will both be... Well, both semi-finals and the final will all 3 matches be on this stream. So Alex stream will shut down after the losers' qualification matches finish.
Okay, I'll join you for this last set, John, I think.
You're getting excited there, Simon.
Yeah. I think out of all the drama and everything that we've had this weekend, I don't think we've had someone come from 2 sets to love down to win 3-2, so I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure everyone who's been 2-0 up has won, so...
We get to see it happen, aren't we? Adam Shaw very much in a position where he can do it here. Although Des Wilcox currently at the table looking to say something about that. What do you reckon for this yellow that's blocked by the red in the centre pocket there, Simon?
Well, I think he can pot it if he's, a little bit more to the left of where the white is now. I'm not sure it's on at the moment. I think ideally he'd want to leave that ball till last because it's natural position to get onto the 8.
And then maybe use the red to try and bump out of the way, so
well, yeah,
stop it there.
The white would naturally run off the red anyway, right into the line of the 8 if the white was, 6 inches more to the left of where it is now. And he has got a little bit of an angle here to stun across, I think. Although he's not looking at, it looks like he's looking into the bottom right pocket as we look, which means he's going to try and move the red.
Two-way shot, this, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I just wonder if he wanted them both. It's a brilliant shot, yeah, but that now puts all the pressure on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult pot, but he only has to make the pot and he'll have a shot on the 8. So, but yeah, if he'd actually just played to pot the one in the middle, maybe, and just control the speed of the yellow, then that could have been maybe a better option. But he played it too good. Big shot.
Overcut it.
Yeah, he's overcut it. Adam Shaw has a chance.
Well, what's more, you can see that he's left half a pocket there for Adam. So, yeah, he definitely is a chance here. He just needs to come out of this first one nicely and leave himself nice and central to something.
Yeah, you just got to keep the white off the rail, really, anywhere near the centre of the table, and he's going to have options galore, so...
It'll do just nicely. Got one bottom right if he wants it.
Yeah, he might be tempted to take the one in the middle here first because he's got a little bit of an angle. So he's going to be drawing back. He's probably going to struggle to draw back to where it is now. So he's going to have an even narrower angle on the one in the middle. So just see. Well, he's going to force it. That's okay.
Yeah, his force shooting's been brilliant in this game.
You can see the angle that the white travelled though, so he couldn't get it back to where it was. So
I don't think he was too worried about that. That's pretty good where it is.
Yeah, no, it's a good shot.
Multiple options.
Really good shot. So he's just got to decide if he's going to leave these two balls at the top till last, or if he's going to take them now.
I'd probably give yourself a slightly better shot on the one behind the yellow.
Yeah, just to make you've only got half a pocket. Like if he only had them two balls, it wouldn't be a problem. But if he can get a lot closer to his work, then just to make sure. Oh.
That's not great.
No, and just, letting the white travel that much, things can happen. So, just a little bit loose there, but he's still got options.
Well, chief amongst those is the snooker. If he can drop this bottom left red pocket weight, if it drops, great. If it doesn't, then he should have a natural snooker off it.
I'm not sure about that. I think he'd still be able to see the yellow. He certainly won't be thinking about that. He'll be 100% into the pot. And looks like he just cued across that a little bit.
Yeah, kind of the way he stood up.
Yeah.
It's almost like he didn't cue in a straight line, right?
Yeah. So I think Des can get through to this yellow. So a bit of a missed opportunity there for Adam. But just probably trying to do a little bit too much with the cue ball. And that's a nice shot from Des.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, he actually made that look really easy, and it's actually not. Obviously the pot's easy, but just controlling just the speed of the cue ball off a rail like that is quite difficult. It's a nice finish from Des.
What he did very well too was that he hit it about as thick as he could to get the cue ball running down that nice central line, instead of hitting it extremely thin and it coming back and possibly contacting the red and messing itself up. He avoided everything and managed to get himself a lovely shot on the black. Ball was close enough to the pocket where he could actually possibly cheat the pocket somewhat and still get that lovely line for the black.
Yeah, so in these deciding sets, the key is to get to 2 frames. You get to 2 frames, you guarantee yourself a shootout. So Des will be looking to win one more, and then if Des can win this frame, he can sort of relax just a touch, knowing that he's guaranteed the shootout and he's got a couple of frames to seal the win. So really important to get to 2 frames.
Well, Des did say that he has a problem with rather stumbling over the finish line though. He starts to get really nervous when games get incredibly close like this towards the end of the game, so I don't think he'll want to be going into a shootout. He'll obviously want to nail this frame, but then he won't relax until the third one's done.
Well, he'll probably naturally be more nervous anyway, having had a 2 sets to 0 lead, so it's definitely been Adam in the ascendancy.
That's a big first pot.
Yeah, it's a good opening pot. Yeah, actually, if he could have ran the white another few inches there and had this bottom red into the bottom right corner, then that would have been absolutely perfect, because that's going to be the issue, getting onto that ball.
Could potentially play it now though, because it looks like the cue ball's naturally going to smack into that yellow and stop there.
It's not an easy shot though. I mean, to be honest, the finish is extremely difficult from here, so maybe you should just hold back a little bit. It might not be a bad miss, to be honest, because it would have been a tough finish, and probably want your soldiers on the battlefield, make it a bit more difficult for Adam.
He held his hand up to apologise there. He didn't mean to make that yellow safe. Immediately on to the one just outside of bulk here, so showing his cards pretty early here.
Yeah, Adam needs to get the cue ball down into the sort of left-hand quarter of the table there, just in behind all them balls. So I'm not sure if the bottom yellow passes into the bottom left pocket, but it certainly obviously goes into the bottom right, and also the other yellow in the cluster goes into the middle pocket. So at some point he's going to try and get the cue ball right in behind those. He's having a good look at the table to see his options.
He's going to have to hurry up at this point.
He's going forward here.
The shot clock is in effect.
Are we on the clock now? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to look to just drop this in and then play the one dead in the middle of the table, and that could be the key to getting a good shot at one of those 3 yellows.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find a way that he gets in behind these balls.
Well, not from where he is. Maybe if he takes us into the bottom pocket instead of the middle. The blacks looks like it's squarely on the road there.
Well, he's going to have to run into them now and hope for a bit of luck. He probably wants to hit the yellow full ball if he can.
Because it'll kill it right there, won't it?
Just like that. That's okay. Not quite at the best result, but yeah, he's.
If he can leave himself nice and straight down the rail here, that would be perfect. But that is going to be incredibly difficult from here.
You know what? He could, if he puts this yellow in, the bottom right corner and plays with top, he could actually come off the yellow and go directly across the table on the same line and come below that yellow on the rail. Oh no, I actually wasn't running into it, so he's played your shot.
Oh, he did
That's
get
a good
there,
shot.
okay.
I didn't think he could avoid the red from the angle there, so he's given himself a chance here now. It's just one good pot, and he's guaranteed a shot on the frame ball. Oh, God, that
just let it go.
That looked in for all money. Like he cued that really nice. Yeah.
Don't think he would have minded the fact that he had a cut though. He would have been.
Well, he would have had a difficult shot had that yellow gone in. But the benefit of overrunning position is he's left Des with no easy opener. You know, if that white was ideally where he would have wanted it, Des would have had the red into the right pocket. So
still does. It's just harder now. Oh, hello. Looking for a good snooker.
No, I think he's left the gap here.
Yep. Unfortunately, he's done an accidental Moses and parted the Red Sea here.
Do you write these down in anticipation, John?
No, I do not.
All in the moment.
Everything is off the cuff. Straight from the top of my dome. Just like Bomb Funk MCs.
Still difficult to get on the other yellow here. He's trying to flick off it.
Oh, red first.
Yeah, red first. That could be very, very costly. So what he was trying to do there, he was trying to flick his own yellow and then play the sort of carom to pot the yellow that he actually potted. So he actually played the shot exactly how he wanted. He just hit the wrong ball. So because what that would have done, the white would be where it is now, but the yellow would have come down to this rail and left himself a shot into the right corner pocket. Des just trying to push that yellow safe.
Get out of there.
Oh no, that's a disaster.
Oh, sounding more and more like Alex Stones there.
Well, the reason that's happened is because he's worried about not hitting a rail. You know, the last thing you want to do is push the yellow towards the rail and then not hit a rail, because then it's a foul back. Yeah. So he's tried to make sure that he's hit the rail. What he should have done is actually tried to push the yellow down to the bottom rail. But I mean, he's still at the table. He's still in control, and he can still actually go for the finish if he wants to. Depends on how he's feeling.
Okay. That red on the left-hand side of the table to the middle left becomes so important now, because that's your natural ball to get onto that red that you've just pushed safe.
Yeah. So he could actually be trying. He could try and get on that red net. Oh, he's gone up. He's played the safety option. So there's nothing wrong with that, and he's actually cut off the one rail option from the right as well with the black. So Adam's going to have to go to the top rail.
Possibly with a whole whack of side too, and that's difficult to do with a small cue ball.
I think you might see this yellow ball travelling here, hoping for a bit of luck.
Just hit full send on that bad boy.
Yeah, it was his only option really. There was no value in just touching up to it, so
there's no safety, was there? Sometimes you see players just run up to touch it and play for a safety. The option was definitely not on there.
So he's going to come down here. Yeah,
that was a friendly nudge.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's got away with that. If he lands dead straight on this red, then could have a little issue, but
Filthy aim.
put the white where he wants now. Yep,
Click.
that's all good.
Go the Nackies, mighty bald eagle. He's talking about Des Wilcox, by the way. The bald eagle is his other nickname.
So he's just got to be careful not to hit the other red here. He could swing it around off 2 rails. And the other thing is he doesn't want to leave the white short. He wants to come far enough. And he's played that really well. That's a great shot.
Had to avoid the red at all costs, didn't he? But no, he found the way past. Just a wee stun shot.
Yeah, well done, Des. He's done well here. He's lost the last 2 sets 3-1, 3-0. So to get his composure back and take a 2 games to 0 lead in this deciding set.
So as you said before, he will at least get to a Blackball shootout, so it's all on Adam's shoulders now.
Big shout out to Daniel Cole and Peter Wilson for coming and refereeing for a couple of days, so 2 long days for these guys as well.
Oh yeah, I mean Daniel Cole, he really wanted to be involved with this in any way, shape or form, and
yeah, he
even
was
as a referee, I mean he's right in the thick of it, and you get that bit of exposure to the game too that way.
Yeah, as soon as this event came about, Daniel actually messaged us like saying that he wanted to play and he would pay obviously $1,000 to enter if there was a space available. He had that opportunity to be here playing in the qualifier a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately just missed out in a tight game against Jojo Coleman in the semi-final. And then instead of sort of spitting his dummy out about losing, he offered to come and referee instead. So yeah, every credit to Daniel for getting involved or wanting to be involved.
Top bloke actually, and also done an awful lot for the resurgence of pool in the Waimea Nelson region. Remember how they used to have quite a strong pool section, but unfortunately not as strong now. But oh, what a double to start!
Great shot. Good chance here now.
But he's done so much to help revitalise pool in that region. It's just a shame for them that he's going to be moving to Nelson in a couple of months' time.
Australia.
Sorry, to Melbourne. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big shot here. He's nailed it. And he's opened up the red. They're all here now.
Well,
So he just wants to. He's gonna take the red in the top left corner, and he just wants to come out and leave himself as straight as he can on the red into the middle. Doesn't want to have too much angle because then he's gonna have to send the white around the table. So just bring this one out nicely. That's just about okay, I think.
Well, he's got that pretty much on a string, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
He
might.
can take the rail.
He might have gone about an inch too far, so he might have to top this through. It's hard to tell if he's just on the top side of that line, that imaginary straight line, then he's perfect. But otherwise, he's gonna have to top this through with a bit of side, and that's perfect. Now he doesn't have to be too clever here. He just has to draw the white ball 6 inches to the left-hand side and play for the gap, I think. So he's looking at getting the white to travel. He doesn't need to do that.
Bit of a
We'll
roller
see.
coaster, this, by the look of it.
We'll see what he does here. He has got a big area to land in, so there's not really any excuses, but
Don't go behind the black. No, that's fine.
Oh.
It's a bit of a bum squeaky one.
Well, don't forget as well that if he puts the white where it is now, then he's not got a shot on the black as well. So, or he's got to go across. So, yeah, I don't know. He might have just been better playing for that gap that I talked about, but he should get this, no problem. That's a good shot. And he's
he likes it. He likes it. Just needs one more. Watch your bridge hand. Watch your killing.
Yeah, well done, Des Wilcox.
Dizzy Wilcox.
Big win there in the last set.
Flies through.
Okay, wow.
3 sets to 2 over Adam Shaw. So Adam Shaw's tournament ends there, and Des moves on to meet either Healy White or yourself in the semi-final.
No, I played Des in the semi-final.
Do you?
Yeah.
So it's not actually
No,
drawing.
they switch sides. Yeah. So
that game will be on at 5
PM.
o'clock, and Healy White versus the winner of Neil Wally and Kerry Wirtz. Neil Wally currently 2 sets to nil ahead of Kerry and 1 game to nil ahead. So most likely at this point it'll be a Neil Wally Healy White semi-final as well. That game's meant to be on at 2, but we'll probably start a little bit later than that.
What time is it now?
1:52.
Yeah. Yeah, so might run slightly behind depending on how that game goes. But thanks for joining, guys, and stay tuned for some more action.
So we will restart the stream for the semi-finals. So thank you once again for watching this, but we will be back quite shortly. So stay close to your devices or your computers. Hope to see you then.